Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video, we are looking at Bitcoin. It is time for another update and we see some interesting developments since the previous video, at which point we only had a three-wave move to the downside in this area, which could have even been a complete correction, which could have allowed direct extension to higher prices. But we did warn that unless we manage to break here the 50% retracement, the 71.8k, and we build a fifth wave to the downside, we would need to expect with high probabilities that after a three-wave correction, a couple of ways in which we could track this, but after the three-wave correction, we should be looking for at least another 5-wave move to the downside. And it seems this has developed exactly within this interpretation, and this should be no surprise, right? We are always looking for the initial 5-wave structure. When we see it, we can expect with high likelihood that after a 3-wave correction, we would be looking for at least another 5-wave pattern in trend continuation. And this is literally the same pattern, the same structure we have been tracking in this entire movement to the downside, right? We identified a 5-wave move to the downside, we had a 3-wave correction into our resistance area, and we formed continuation within at least another 5-wave move to the downside. Now, the developments of this structure are interpretable in a few ways, but this is not the point, right? Structures can morph into different patterns in the end. Nonetheless, we had the warning, the indication that if we build a fifth wave in orange in this area, we should expect continuation in this trend, and it appears this has followed through. And we will be discussing more about the options we would be expecting in this development. I would be looking still for lower prices, but not necessarily as low as some would expect. But before we get into those details, I wanted to go briefly through the larger time frame for any of you who might be new, right? So we are focusing on this larger correction. We are assuming with pretty good odds that a top would be in place on the Bitcoin chart within this cycle. And of course, I am open to be proven wrong, but right now there is no strong evidence suggesting continuation to new all-time highs. So, in this structure, we have been considering a potential bottom. In this entire movement, we would be looking for a larger wave B, initially into this resistance area. We can talk more about a potential overshoot if we actually see some developments suggesting such strength. But at this point, yes, this is the area I'm watching for, this idea of a larger A, B, C structure, right? So far, we haven't gotten into the resistance levels, and we would expect to still extend higher in such a yellow structure. And within this, we have a couple of scenarios that could allow us to actually extend higher. Firstly, we would be able to consider an A, B, C pattern complete within a wave A. We could be looking for a larger wave B correction. And against 63.3k, yeah, the 78.6% retracement, we can still look for a wave C to still form. And along these levels, we have some structural support, yeah, quite significant even. We have even reacted here to the 50% retracement, to the 38.2% retracement, and most recently the 61.8% retracement. We had previous lows form along those levels, and here at the 61.8% retracement, and we will have some additional structural support at a 78.6% retracement if needed. But as long as we do not get a sustained break below this last level, we are still looking with a decent chance for continuation to high prices. And this is probably the more realistic scenario. We did also provide the idea for a potential double 1-2-1-2 setup here. Yeah, we had here the white structure that would allow us instead to track support down to the 65.2k level. I'm still considering this a possible interpretation, but once again, it might be a bit more unrealistic than what we have in the yellow interpretation, and within this idea, we would be looking to form an impulse here within very likely a wave 3 that would eventually lead us to look to much higher prices. But for this idea to remain even remotely likely, we would expect to hold at least $65.2k, where a sustained break below that would signal that this structure is likely not going to work out. We of course have structural support along this line, along this last level of support as well, but I wouldn't overthink it, right? We have the levels, we are tracking them, and if it succeeds, we can look for this structure to work out. If it doesn't, we can look for the yellow structure to work out. And these are basically our bullish interpretations that would allow us to look for higher prices. We also have a less bullish interpretation, of course. This would be our red scenario where we could be looking for direct continuation to lower prices, and this even implied that this initial 5-wave move to the downside would be a wave 1, part of a much stronger wave C to the downside. This would need to build an impulse, and technically it can still work out, as nothing has really pushed us to believe this structure has been invalidated. Nonetheless, I do not believe we need to focus on this interpretation too much, as currently we are still within our support levels, so we can hide this for now. And yes, focus on these scenarios, these structures. And for the purposes of having more clear tracking in this area, I will be hiding for now this white interpretation actually. And yes, here we had the 5-wave move to the downside. We have a couple of ways we can track the 3-wave correction, and then we are looking for a 5-wave move in continuation to lower prices. So in this structure, within the idea of a correction, I have to track a wave A, right? We have the 5-wave pattern to the downside complete. We are looking here for a wave B up and a wave C down. We could consider the wave B to have topped in either place here, since this is the actual top. And I will prefer and I will track this interpretation, as it will also provide us the highest level of resistance, the level that actually signals something if it is broken. So we have here a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. In this interpretation, we can track resistance as high as the 61.8% retracement, the 69.3k level, where a break above it would signal that we could have actually bottomed. We would probably need to consider the wave B had topped here and the wave C had actually bottomed here. Not necessarily a problem, but until this is the case, we are looking still for one more low in this structure. I could be looking even for an impulse if I consider this to have been the top in something like a 1-2, 1-2 setup in this area. This could work out as a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5. I wouldn't overthink the structure in the end, and I do probably prefer what we have on the chart. So I would consider this to actually be a pretty simple structure to follow. We do need to make some considerations here. For example, the ideal target for the wave C is the 100% extension of the wave A, and that would be at 63.6k, yeah, but of course we do not need to get there, and I do even see it possible to actually bottom within the white support zone, right? I do see it possible to form this wave 5 and not break below $65.2k. And we can actually even notice that is along the 78.6% extension of the wave A, yeah, right above that level. So for a recap, on this chart, we are looking likely at a diagonal structure to be in formation here. This means that we would likely not expect a wave 3 to be unfolding in the red interpretation, at least not in a direct fashion, right? This could build another 1-2 setup, but then we would be looking for the wave 5 and a relief rally, after which, of course, it could extend with no bounds. But at the same time, we would be having at that point a 3-wave pattern complete. It would be able to be our wave B correction in yellow. If we manage to hold the support zone in white, it could be our wave 2 in white, of course. And we are looking for evidence, right? As long as we hold the 78.6% retracement in yellow, there is still a good chance we will get an additional larger wave to the upside, and it doesn't even need to be within a wave C. We have a couple of options there as well, but until we actually get some confirmations, let's keep it simple. Let's focus on having a follow-up movement to the upside in either case. And another reminder, even though this is below the last level of support, I would consider these structural support levels. If we actually need them, we can expect to find some strength for a reversal in that region as well. Yeah, maybe we form a wick below the last level of support, we grab the liquidity, we trigger a lot of stop losses, push even below them, and then actually have the breakout. That is certainly a possibility to consider if we happen to push that low. But for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoy our content and want to support us directly, check out our channel membership. And as a thank you for any of these actions, I would like to invite you to sign up to our channel newsletter, where you get access to our monthly top picks, where we identify for you high quality structures. The link for sign up is in the description, and it is completely free. Other than that, let me know what your opinions are, let me know what you think of this structure, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.